Episode 63.
This is musician Diane Durrett, and you're listening to The Multimedia Ninja with Bradford Rogers.
Hello again, and welcome to the Multimedia Ninja podcast, where it's all about surviving and thriving in the digital convergence. My name is Bradford Rogers, and I'll be interviewing some multimedia ninjas who are making things happen in their respective fields and sharing tips, tools, and insights for multimedia artists and content creators. As always, you can find show notes at themultimedianinja.com. This week,
Singer, songwriter, and producer Diane Durrett.
As you may know, in this podcast series, my friends and I will be talking about all things multimedia, including creativity, shaping your ideas, and how to be more productive doing it, regardless of what kind of content you're creating. We have got an exciting episode for you today, so what do you say we just let's get to it? All right, welcome back to another episode of The Multimedia Ninja. It's been an awesome week. I've been doing you don't care. Well, I'll just tell you anyway. I've been doing a lot of motion graphics and voiceover and video editing and Lord knows what, including some video shooting for our next guest, today's guest. But I will stop blathering here and just go ahead and introduce. I'm really pleased to have somebody on today that I've known for a while, almost, 15 years or more since we were 15.
Right.
And and running into each other in different bands and stuff. But now she is still on the Recording Academy Board of Governors for the Atlanta chapter of the Recording Academy, and is in the producer and engineer wing we both are. And she is she's top 10 in contemporary blues chart, if I got that right, and at People's Choice Award, Atlanta Blues Society. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the virtual studio, Diane Durrett. Welcome to the Multimedia Ninja, Diane. How are you?
I am doing well today, Bradford. It's good to see you.
Likewise. And what are you up to this week besides being here?
Well, I'm doing some recording in the studio. It's kind of trying to slip in some recording this week between shows. We've been real busy doing shows and all that kind of thing, and we just wrapped up with what you helped us on at the Live at Eddie's Attic last week. So I'll be kind of going through those tracks and hopefully starting to mix that and also recording a new record.
Nice. And
all in 1 week.
Yeah.
Just the beginnings of all that.
You stay very busy, I have to say. And
yeah.
If I were like a true multimedia ninja right now, I would just throw in some footage from that Eddie's Attic show.
getting hot up in here. But I never skill
Well, yeah, that was pretty awesome. Glad we happened to have that handy. So you were actually just did a recording of The Rose with our friend TK.
Yes.
Silent Sound.
Yes, I have to give a hand there too.
And it sounds awesome. So is that the next thing you are, as Tanya would say, pimping out?
Yeah.
Going to be?
Yes, it hasn't quite made it to iTunes this week, but it should be available in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome. And I will have a link, if I don't get senile, in the show notes where you can find that. And I think I hadn't, for some reason, on another episode, even though I haven't already, haven't had you on before, that I recall. Somehow I had link in show notes to you on iTunes, but I will. So that will cut down my production time this week. Anyway, but we'll get some links to your iTunes, your upcoming and your previous and all that good stuff on iTunes, and to your website, which is, I assume, DianeDurrett.com.
That's right.
I assume and or remember. But you are touring all over the place. What's your main? Are you mainly doing Southeast now, or because I know you get up from Chattanooga to Kennesaw to
all the way to Kennesaw.
Yeah, for the Pigs and Peaches festival coming up. In case you kids want to know.
That's right. We're actually opening for Sean Mullins.
Nice.
There. So that's coming up at the end of August. So.
What's your? How many days a year are you currently performing at this?
It kind of goes in shifts, basically. You know, I'll be busy a couple of months, and then I'll take some time to record or write. So it works like that. And
producing-wise, you just co-produced with Junebug how many songs? I know there's the River Sings.
Yeah, and another tune called The Flow.
Very nice tunes.
Yeah, you can find those. They're on Facebook, on video, and maybe you could do a link to them. But
yeah,
they're very cool tunes. But we're working on an entire record.
Okay.
Yeah.
Water themed on its
it's
entirety.
It's very water themed. Yes.
I can appreciate that. I have a certain affinity for the water myself. Have been known to. So you were kind enough to send me some work recently from the city of Pine Lake, that you have some acquaintances there, very lovely people. Yes. And we shot some different, a flash mob and a festival and a tour and all that good stuff. And then a couple of months ago, we did a shoot for when you were at Eddie's Attic previously.
Yeah.
And brought the two Sonys out, I think, and did the multicam thing. And I'm going to geek out a little bit, but since this is the Multimedia Ninja show, some people may be interested so Diane brought over the hard drive today, and right before she got here, I realized I forgot with this most recent footage to do the proxies for it, to render those. So if you don't know what that is, this kind of feeds into, maybe we might get into for a little bit here, but so when you're shooting for example, 4K, like these little Sonys shoot, you get video that's like 3,400 pixels by 34, 36, I forget, by some other large number. And you get a couple of those going, and then you get like a GoPro, or you get multicam stuff, so you can go in Premiere and edit once you line them up, which is a whole nother deal, especially if you don't have a slate. This is what this is for, to synchronize 3 cameras or more. You have this slate so you can both see when it hits, and you have a little audio spike on the waveforms of the cameras and your separate audio, like we're recording the audio separately in Ableton Live here. And you can use that to lay the footage together, and then you can go in there and edit the multicam. So they apparently don't have that so much, the multicam editing on iMovie, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Is that, so you were messing around with the previous Eddie's thing, trying to manually line those up and try and sub things in, and
it was very much like a wrestling match. They would come together, then they would.
Yeah, and if you have 3 cameras like at a music show and you don't have the slate, it's a little challenging to line them up, even let alone do the multi-camera. But I am going to deliver these files from the last thing. But in Premiere, you have this deal where you take those huge 4K files and you make what they call proxies, where it renders little smaller, lighter file size versions so that you can edit the multi-camera without Premiere going, no! So I was setting those up in Adobe Media Encoder where they can do that in the background, and something crashed and I forgot to restart it. So that's going to be like another... 8 to 10 hours of the computer cogitating on that. So we'll get to that. But so what's been your experience in terms of, because this ties into, you came in sort of you wanted some social media and similar assets for the band, and what's been your experience prior in the past of trying to do these things? You use like an iPhone, or have you tried having fans shoot stuff? Or
it's just many different things. A lot of times it would be shot with inferior cameras. Some of that would happen, some little pieces of iPhone. The problem, of course, that I've found that many people have had with iPhone is the memory situation. Mm-hmm. And as soon as something magical is getting ready to happen, then that little thing pops up that says you don't have any more memory. So
you're finished.
You're finished.
Done now. I think that's
and you're like grabbing for your friend. Hey, can you give me that? Let me shoot that. Or, And
it's kind of hard when you're performing to like produce the video at the same time. That's challenging.
I tell you, the thing, it is hard because, when you are a producer, even when we were doing the live recording at Eddie's, I'm performing and my producer head's popping in every once in a while. Oh, that's a good cut. Or, oh, we should slice it there. And then my other part of my artist head's going, shh, perform. It's whoa. Sometimes it gets a little crazy like that.
I think I hereby proclaim you this week's winner. I totally forgot the whole section ID where we say this is the segment we like to call Winners and Losers. Yes. So just to clarify, Diane is this week's winner. And I'll take responsibility for being the loser since I forgot to render those things before you came. Sorry about that. Another reason I'm a loser is because I forgot to format the memory card in this camera. Loser. And I will only be appearing in the first part of this episode on this camera. Yay. You're welcome. Yeah, so that actually leads me to a segment we like to call What the heck are you doing? Where we ask our guest what tip, trick, hardware, software, technique, philosophy, etc. is rocking hard for them today, this week, this month, this year, etc. And so what say you to that one?
Well, I can tell you what you shouldn't do.
That works too. Mm-hmm.
So, we were supposed to be doing a live Facebook takeover. That's kind of a new thing that venues are doing, and for Eddie's Attic, and they have quite a big viewership. Is that the right word?
Sure.
Viewership?
Works for me.
And so we planned it out, and but we were up in the mountains. So at the last minute, I decided, our friend was going to video us, and so I decided to use my iPad instead of my iPhone, just because, iPhone issues. So we set it up. Well, I have a keypad on there, and we set it up. But what we didn't realize, because it was going straight to the internet, and when you were looking at it, it looked right side up. But then as it was going to the internet, it was sideways.
Oh, no. That's not good.
And when I contacted the social media person, there's no way Facebook, they don't have it worked out where you can turn yourself right side up.
Oh, nice.
So you can go see it. It's still up.
Let's put a link to that. That'll
I'll
work.
put a link to the sideways. You can lay down and watch it.
Yeah, it's good for relaxing, stuff like that. That's good to bear in mind.
It is. It's, I learn things every day.
Mm-hmm. Well, I should not forget while we're on that where people can find you. We mentioned DianeDurrett.com.
Right.
.com. And is the Twitter the same at Diane Durrett or Diane Durrett Music?
Yes.
One of those, yes. I think Instagram.
I think it's Diane Durrett Music.
Actually. Yeah, and I think Instagram is also Diane Durrett Music.
And YouTube is YouTube Diane Durrett.
Okay, cool. And I'll try and put a link to all of those in the show notes if I don't get senile. But and if Daisy and Ginger will let us, is that okay with you? She's like, I want to go out. Daisy, by the way, is the one that tells us when our visit's over, because last time we were having a Grammy viewing party, it got to be later in the evening, and Daisy said, I'm done. I'm just going to pee in the foyer. And that's how we know.
That broke up the party.
Yeah. Well, we'll wrap up today before Daisy pees in the floor, but I just want to thank you for stopping by the Red Room and the Multimedia Ninja podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. And come back soon.
Okay.
I'm sure we can do that. And ladies and gentlemen of the virtual studio audience, please give it up for Diane Durrett. Well, that just about wraps up this edition of the Multimedia Ninja Podcast. I hope you come back next week and bring your friends. Don't forget you can subscribe to the Multimedia Ninja Podcast at themultimedianinja.com. I would love it if you can hit us on there, the YouTube, whatever. Show us some love. We never fail to appreciate that. And meantime, do some great work, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for joining us. And we gone.